Hello again. The internet's back. Hooray! And we should now have sound in both headphones as well. Okay, one thing I've forgotten to do, I'm going to change the name from Incredible Cup Fluff Fulfy, whatever these strange names that it comes up with, automatically to Thor's hammer. Apostrophe for possession, because the hammer belongs to Thor. And Thor has a capital T. That's called Pendant as well. Oh, come on now. Thor's hammer. Pendant. Alrighty. So, where was I? Okay, looking at this, I've changed my mind. I want that tube to be a little bit thinner. Make it 1.3. Right. Is it the radius? Am I going mad? Oh no, that was fine. Okay, maybe 1.2. Alright, yeah, that's better. Okay, and now on the design that I used for inspiration, it had like a sort of dome shape in the middle of that, and there is actually one here, half sphere. You can take that and I'm holding down shift again, I'm shrinking it down, and it's going to roughly put it in place. I think there's a tiny bit of a gap between the edge of the ring and the dome. Now this is where that align tool really comes in handy. So I'm going to get it roughly the right. I don't want it to be sticking up that much. That looks a bit too much. So I'm going to put it to like that, probably about that amount, and then make it a bit larger. I'm holding down shift again. I'm doing this just roughly for a minute. I'm still on the 0.1mm snap grid, which is why I'm able to do it quite precisely. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to use the align tool. Now I can align it to anything really. I could align it to this ring because that already is aligned, or I can align it to the base. I'll just use the ring for now, because actually then I can do it like that. So I've selected, I'll do that again. Selected the dome, hold down shift, select the ring as well. Click on the align tool. Remember, I don't want the ring to move, so I'll click on the ring. And let's just put that's centered that. You can do this kind of however you want. You can have whatever shape you like here, but I'm just going for I think this is what was on the amulet that I used for inspiration. Now I want to make a couple of other ones, like two more of these raised domes here. So I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to do them from scratch. So I'm going to go Control D for duplicate and just move it across to where I'm happy with. Now I need to be a bit smaller because that is too big. I might put this snap grid back to 1mm in a minute. Let's make that 9. Again, I've hold down shift, so it should both be 9 as I'm doing this. That's alright. Okay, and then maybe another one. Control D, move it across. Have right here, and then they definitely need to make that a bit smaller. Can make that whatever size, wherever you want really. I might put one there. Because I'm on the 0.1mm snap grid, I can adjust it quite carefully there. Maybe a tiny one there. Alright, let's put a tiny one there as well. Holding down shift. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change mine slightly. I want this middle one to be sort of somewhere in between that one there. Now, what you could do to make these perfectly aligned, you can align these together. So I'm going to do that, actually. I'm holding down shift so that all three are selected. I'm going to put align, and I'm going to select this one here. Look, now they're all aligned. That's pretty good. Oh, there we are. That one needs to come over a tiny bit. Yep, that'll do. Right. And to save time again, I'm not going to do those from scratch. I'm going to just copy those ones over. So holding down shift. And I'm going to go Control D for duplicate. And then I'm going to move them across to the other side. And again, I'm going to be lazy. M for mirror. Click on the mirror tool. Look at that. Because I moved them across manually, they should be in the right level, and then we can just let's put that snap grid back here. I'm not being super precise super precise, because I don't necessarily want it to be exactly, you know, to the 0.1 mm accurate, because when they would have been making these, they would have been done by hand and there would have been slight differences. But I'll get it just by eye is fine for this sort of art sort of project. Okay, that's good. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. So what I could do again, I'm going to put a few more of these domes up here. You could copy these ones if you wanted, or just use the middle one. I used the middle one on my first one, so that's what I'm going to do again. I'm going to put snap grid to 1mm just because it's a bit quicker to move stuff across. And go for 0.1. Where should I put the first one? I reckon this third one should be in a sort of triangular pattern with these two. In fact, you know what? No, because those are a bit smaller. Actually, I am going to use one of those. I want to make it kind of, yeah, I'm just clicking drag it, sort of a nice symmetrical, sort of a triangle almost between those three. Is that looking good? I'll need to adjust that over a little bit. Let's change the snap grid to 0.1. That's pretty good. Now I think yeah, you can see that's actually poking through a bit, so I'll need to make it a tiny bit smaller. One other little useful tip is if you hold down Shift and Alt at the same time, when you resize it, you can resize it like from the center of that object, which is a bit more useful. Means you don't have to always align it. How does that look? It's not too bad, is it? Okay. Now on the original one, they had them going different sizes, so I might do the same again on this one. I'm going to move that across, change the snap grid up a little bit, just a bit quicker to move. I think maybe one there, smaller one. And again, I'm going to use the Control Alt, Shift Alt to make it like that, and then maybe one smaller one. I'm going to go Control D for duplicate, put it there. Again, Shift Alt, resize. Now the snap grid's at 1mm, so that's doing it too much. Let's turn it to 0.1mm. We want it to be just sort of descending inside size at the same rate. How does that look? I reckon that needs to come over a tiny bit. Pretty good. I mean, you can add, you know, any other shapes and things that you want. You could even add a bit of text. The only issue with the text here is that it's not terribly Viking looking, but we can potentially import text from here. I might try that actually in the next video. I've never done it before, but it's worth a try. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then to print it, well, in fact, what I need to do is to make it all one object. So we're going to select everything and then group it. Obviously, the color that this comes out depends on what filament you use. I'm going to use white because then we can just spray it gold. But just as a rough idea what it will look like, kind of make it gold, well, as near to gold as we can get, and have it like that. Just going to put work plane back to the blue one now. So there we have one example of how to do this. It's not perfect, but if you decide that I've noticed here, this is annoying me a little bit. I think that needs to come down a little bit. You can always ungroup it, so you can ungroup the object and then just make any alterations that you want to do. And and add little bits as you see fit. Alright, so that was that step there. You group everything together. You'll then export it as an STL file, and actually when you've done that, when you've exported an STL file, you could take that file here, which will be saved in your downloads, and if you upload that to this assignment and hand it in, I can take that file, and if you're not in school, I can 3D print it, so you can collect it when we're all back. So you can literally upload that STL file and we'll 3D print it for you. One thing that I forgot to mention before finishing off, before you group everything and save it, just check there's nothing weird going on. Check there's no bits of stuff poking through where there shouldn't be things poking through. I've done it a few times. I've got to 3D printer and pressed go and found that, you know, the whole thing was hovering off the ground, you know. So yeah, have a quick check around of it to make sure it's all looking good. All right. Good luck. I look forward to seeing your pendants.